Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva. Jaya Narasimhadev, 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 Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya Ashtottara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Brahma Matva Gaudiya Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। सामवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 24, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, verse 66. Jato gata pitrigrihat vrajam iditarto hatva ripun sutasatani krito rudhara Padyateshu purusha kratubi samije. आत्मानं आत्मनिगमं प्रतयांजनेषु जातो गतः पितृगृहात् व्रजम् इदितार्तो हत्वा रिपून् सुतशतानि कृतोरुधारा उत्पाद्यतेषु पुरुषक्रतुभिः समीजे आत्मानं आत्मनिगमं प्रतयञ्जनेषु जातो गता पितृगृहात् व्रजम् इति धार्तो हत्वा रिपून् सुतशतानि कृतोरुधारा उत्पाद्यतेषु पुरुषक्रतुभिः समीजे आत्मानं आत्मनिगमं प्रतयञ्जनेषु Vaishnavis, Jata, after taking birth as the son of Vasudeva. Gatha, went away. Pitrigrihat, from the house of his father. Vrajam, to Vrindavan. Idhita Artha, to exalt the position of Vrindavana. Hatva, killing there. Ripun, many demons. Sutta Shatani, hundreds of sons. Krita Urudhara, accepting many thousands of wives, the best of women. Utpadya, begot. Teshu, in them. Purusha, the Supreme Person, who exactly resembles a human being. Kratubi, by many sacrifices. Samije, worshipped. Atmanam, himself, because he is the person worshipped by all sacrifices. Atmanigamam, exactly according to the ritualistic ceremonies of the Vedas. Pratayan, expanding the Vedic principles. Janeshu, among the people in general. Translation, kindly repeat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, known as Leela Purushottama, appeared as the son of Vasudeva, but immediately left his father's home and went to Vrindavana to expand his loving relationship with his confidential devotees. In Vrindavana, the Lord killed many demons, and afterwards he returned to Dwaraka, where according to Vedic principles, he married many wives who were the best of women, begot through them hundreds of sons, and performed sacrifices for his own worship to establish the principles of householder life. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedya. By all the Vedas, it is Krishna who is to be known. Lord Sri Krishna, setting an example by his own behavior, performed many ritualistic ceremonies described in the Vedas and established the principles of Grihastha life by marrying many wives and begetting many children, just to show people in general how to be happy by living according to Vedic principles. The center of Vedic sacrifice is Krishna. Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedya. To advance in human life, human society must follow the Vedic principles personally demonstrated by Lord Krishna in his householder life. The real purpose of Krishna's appearance, however, was to manifest how one can take part in loving affairs with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Reciprocations of loving affairs in ecstasy are possible only in Vrindavan. Therefore, just after his appearance as the son of Vasudeva, the Lord immediately left for Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, the Lord not only took part in loving affairs with his father and mother, the gopis and the cowherd boys, but also gave liberation to many demons by killing them. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.8, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. The Lord appears in order to protect the devotees and kill the demons. It was fully exhibited by his personal behavior. This was fully exhibited by his personal behavior. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is understood by Arjuna to be Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, the eternal, transcendental, supreme person. Here also we find the words Utpadya Teshu Purusha. Therefore, it is to be concluded that the absolute truth is Purusha, a person. The impersonal feature is but one of the features of his personality. Ultimately, he is a person. He is not impersonal, and not only is he Purusha, a person, but he is the Leela Purushottama, the best of all persons. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, known as Leela Purushottama, appeared as the son of Vasudeva, but immediately left his father's home and went to Vrindavana to expand his loving relationship with his confidential devotees. In Vrindavana, the Lord killed many demons, and afterwards he returned to Dwaraka, where according to Vedic principles he married many wives who were best of women, begot through them hundreds of sons, and performed sacrifices for his own worship to establish the principles of household life. So, just one more verse and then we will be in Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 10. And Srila Prabhupada never wanted devotees to read the 10th canto directly without reading the first 9 cantos. And why did Srila Prabhupada want it to be so? Because through the first 9 cantos, we can establish the position of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Without understanding the greatness of the pastimes of Krishna, if one reads Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto directly, he may not be able to relish the pastimes to the fullest extent. He may just become a sentimentalist, oh, such a sweet relation between mother and son, oh, he's baking pot, and you just appreciate the sentimentality and you become a sentimentalist. Or if you find that these things are not actually possible, if you feel like that, how can a small child show the entire universe in his mouth? How is it possible that one person danced with millions of ladies? When you think that these things are not possible, then there is a big chance that you will become an atheist. That's why Srila Prabhupada warned that before we study Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, we should study all the other 9 cantos. And the 9 cantos establish the position of Sri Krishna very firmly as the Supreme Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam is called Mahapuran because it was written by Vyasadeva after his many attempts to establish the position of Krishna. He wrote the Puranas according to the modes. There were 6 Puranas for mode of ignorance, there were 6 Puranas for people who are in mode of passion, and then he wrote Puranas for people in mode of goodness. And the idea was that by going through these Puranas, people will eventually come to the level of understanding how Krishna is beyond all these Puranas, how he is transcendental to these 3 modes of material nature. And he wrote the Mahabharata, and he divided the Vedas into four parts, Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva. He did so many things. But in his heart, he was feeling very sad. He was feeling unsatisfied. And at that time, his spiritual master, Narada, he appears and he explains to Vyasadeva the reason for his sadness. He says your sadness is arising out of this lack of presentation about the supreme position of Krishna. So you exclusively write a scripture that is dedicated to proving that Lord Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a scripture that exclusively establishes Krishna as the Supreme Lord. So Bhagavat is called Mahapurana because it has these 10 elements. These 10 elements that show that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is explained atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanam utayaha manvantare ishanukata nirodho mukti ashraya. So these are the 10 elements that Bhagavat describes, and by understanding these 10 elements we can understand the position of Krishna, and without understanding the position of Krishna we are not qualified to touch the 10th canto. And it's only by Srila Prabhupada's causeless mercy that these elements are made available to us through these 9 cantos. Otherwise Bhagavatam is also described as Mohini. You know, one of the analogies given for Bhagavatam is like Mohini, very tricky. And things can slip through your attention. You may, like how Mohini Devi tricked the Asuras, sometimes you may feel that if you don't have the proper guidance and shelter of a bona fide spiritual master like Srila Prabhupada, things may slip through. You may get a wrong understanding. So it's only by Srila Prabhupada's causeless mercy that we are able to see these 10 elements of the 10 elements that make Bhagavatam Mahapurana. So the first and second canto, the first canto sets the scene for talking of Bhagavatam. This is where Parikshit Maharaj gets. This is where Narada and Vyasadeva were talking, and Narada is instructing Vyasadeva to write Bhagavatam. And then there is pastime of Parikshit. The scene is set for the recitation of Bhagavatam. And Parikshit Maharaj asks many questions to Vyasadeva. The second canto, Sukadev Goswami, and the second canto, Sukadev Goswami answers those questions and he glorifies Bhakti Yoga. And he establishes that Bhakti Yoga is the process of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So once that is established in second canto, then we have the 10 elements coming after that. So Sarga means the creations of Lord Vishnu, and it starts it's in the beginning part of third canto, where we talk about creations of Vishnu, like the 5 gross elements, the 10 senses, and the sense objects, and mind, material energy, and all those things. Yeah? So that is discussed in the beginning of third canto, which forms Sarga. Then Visarga means the secondary creations that are made by Lord Brahma. So this is from the end of the second part of the third canto all the way till the 5th canto. And it goes and it talks about the creations of Lord Brahma. And third one is basically it's the creation of material world. You have heaven, hellish planets, and the mountain, the golden mountain, invert, the upside down golden mountain. All the detailed descriptions are there. The 7 islands. So all of that forms part of Visarga. And Sthanam is the maintenance of the Lord. So Brahma is creating, and Nirodha, destruction, is by Lord Shiva. The energy of destruction is represented by Lord Shiva. Brahma represents creation. So Vishnu himself represents maintenance. So how the material world is maintained, how different planets are sustained, who are the different authorities in charge of different planetary systems. All of that is explained in the later part of 5th canto, which forms Sthanam. And then Poshanam. Poshanam is the 6th canto, which talks about how Lord sustains his devotees and protects his devotees. So in 6th canto we have the pastimes of Ajamil, who is protected by it's the power of holy name. Just by name of Lord Vishnu you get protection, so that's 6th canto talks about Poshanam. And Utayaha, Uti means the impressions of mind. So this is basically the source of karma. Many times people are puzzled, so how come. Actually, that is one of the questions that Parikshit Maharaj asks Sukadeva Goswami. When he sees that Ajamil pastime is happening, then he's puzzled, It looks like you are always taking and in the same canto there is a Vrittasura. After Ajamil is Vrittasura. Vrittasura is a very exalted devotee, but he is in the form of a demon. And then Indra, Lord Vishnu gives so many ideas to Indra how to defeat Vrittasur. So then this question arises in the heart of Parikshit Maharaj. What is it always that you will take the sides of demigods? How is that you are supporting Indra here? Instead of Vrittasur, who is a very exalted devotee. So at that time, 6th canto, it is Utaya is Lord explains how karma works, how impressions created in our mind are source of karma, and it doesn't matter whether you're born in the family of demon or you're a karmi, whatever, but if you are surrendered, the Lord will protect you. And that nature of creating karma is explained in 7th canto with the pastime of Prahalad Maharaj. He had the impressions in his mind, he had the uti from Narada by hearing all the pastimes of Vishnu in the womb of his mother. And his father was demoniac, Hiranyakashipu. So the Lord showed how within one family also, because of karmic reaction, because of their inclination, two different nature people are produced, and how the Lord can protect the ones who are inclined towards him. So that is Uti, and it's described in the 7th canto. And Manvantara talks about the different Manus, and this is in the 8th canto. And when we talk about Manvantara, we talk about the different Manus, their sons, and for each Manu there are the 7 sages, and in charge of demigod, Indra, it's a position, who will be that, and the different demigods who will go under this, Indra, and who are the different incarnations of Vishnu who will appear in each of this Manu's period. All of that is explained as Manvantara, and there is a lot of description of it in the 8th canto. And the first 2 cantos are compared to the legs of Lord Sri Krishna. 3 and 4 compared to his thighs. Canto 5 compares to his navel. Canto 6, which is maintenance, which, it is compared to the Lord's chest. Cantos 7 and 8, they compare to the Lord's arms. And Canto 9 compares to his neck. And 10 is his lotus face, 11 is his forehead, and 12 is his head. So, so if you read all the cantos completely, then you get a full picture of who is Lord Sri Krishna. So coming back to the 10 elements, then we have Ishanukata. Ishanukata is Lord's pastimes. So in one particular Manu, Vaivashvata Manu's period, there is the sun dynasty and the moon dynasty. And all the famous incarnations of the Lord in these 2 dynasties, especially glorifying Lord Shri Ram of the sun dynasty, and Parasurama. So in Canto 9 is Ishanukata, the pastimes of the Lord. Many pastimes are of the two dynasties are given, and it's the beginning of the pastimes of the moon dynasty, the most predominant person in the moon dynasty, which is Lord Sri Krishna. Then Mukti is liberation, and Krishna exclusively talks about Mukti in to Uddhava in Uddhava Gita in 11th canto. So Mukti is explained in 11th canto, liberation. And Nirodha means when Lord goes to sleep, and that is when there is the destruction of this material creation, and there is all the different types of destructions are explained here, and that forms a part of canto 12. And the final element is Ashraya. Ashraya means Samam Bonam, which is exclusively dedicated to describing the pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna. And there are 90 chapters in 10th canto, which describe Krishna's Leela, which are in nutshell, which are in verse 66 and 67. If we put them together, it is like a summary study of the whole of canto 10, which is the whole idea presented here, that Lord Krishna appeared as son of Vasudev, then he goes to Vrindavan, and then he is having very loving relationship with his devotees, and he kills many demons there, and then he comes to Dwaraka, and he marries thousands of queens, very high elevated ladies. Through them he begets hundreds of children, and he performs many many activities according to Vedic principles, and then he instructs Uddhava, and then he disappears from this material world. So all these two verses together is a summary of the 10th canto, and the reality is even the 10th canto is a kind of summary of Krishna's activities, because Lord Krishna is not someone whose life can be explained in one canto, in one section. So even 10th canto is a summary, and we can understand that when Krishna is talking to Arjuna in the 4th chapter, Transcendental Knowledge in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivaswan, who instructed it to Manu, and who instructed in turn to Ikshvaku. So, and that happened millions and millions and millions of years ago. And then this knowledge goes down in disciplic succession, and somehow the chain got broke. And it looks like the knowledge is lost, and that's why I am instructing it again to you. So when that is happening, that is the section we study about in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is talking about that session of Lord Sri Krishna's pastime, when Krishna appeared here in this material world, and he was there as associate of Pandavas, and he was their chariot driver, and he was instructing Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. But Krishna himself says that even before that he existed, and he was talking this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita millions of years ago to the sun god. Then Arjuna gets this question, how is it possible? Sun god is very senior to you in birth, is millions of years older than you. So how am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this knowledge to him? And then Krishna talks about his nature. He tells Arjuna, you and me, Arjuna, we both have had many, many births. But you cannot remember them all, but I can. And that's the first difference between God and human being. Krishna can remember all the many times he incarnated. And one time when he incarnated here in this material world, one time pastime is 10th canto, the 90 chapters. And if that is extensive, we should know that that's just a drop. That's just a drop of the unlimited ocean of pastimes he performed. Krishna goes further to explain, although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates. So that is another difference between God and ordinary human beings. Krishna's body he is never born into this material world. We are all born, we have a material body, and this body is subjected to changes. It's born, it grows, it's remaining, it reproduces, and it deteriorates, it falls apart, it is destroyed. But Krishna is not subject to, his body is transcendental and it is never subjected to these changes. I am the Lord of all living entities, and I appear every millennium by my original transcendental form. Krishna uses the word Sambhavami Atma Maya. Atma Maya, I incarnate by my internal energy. So Krishna does not come into this material world because he is bound to take birth as a conditioned soul is. Krishna appears in this material world out of his own sweet will. He wants to do something, that's why he comes. He is not like us who are bound by some karmic reaction, and that's why we have to be in this material world. So what is that sweet thing he wants to do? He wants to establish dharma in this material world. So whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice and there is a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I discern myself. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyam. I appear. It is not born. Krishna is not born, he appears. Srila Prabhupada gives the analogy of sun. The sun is appearing in the horizon. You think the sun has risen. And then it stays above your head and then it sets. In all this time, no change has happened to sun. It is only our perception that sometimes we think that the sun is rising, sometimes we think the sun is on our head, and sometimes we think that the sun has disappeared. We just think Krishna came to this material world, he did some pastime and he disappeared. That is only our perception. In reality, Krishna never disappears. It's only that we are not able to perceive his pastime anymore. Just like when the sun sets, a conditioned soul can't see the sun anymore. Similarly, when Krishna's disappearance pastime happens, we can't see his, we think the pastime is over. But Krishna's pastimes are eternal. And his purpose is that he wants to protect the pious and annihilate the miscreants. So it is out of his own sweet will to take part in loving exchange with his devotees that Krishna appears in this material world. And a side product, a byproduct of this desire is that he kills demons. People who are disturbing his devotees, he kills them. In reality, Krishna does not have to appear in this material world for killing demons at all. The material energy in itself is enough. Time in the form of death, that is enough to, in big leaders, very atrocious people who have tortured innocent people, they just died. Somebody comes and shoots them, they get a heart attack, they grow old, they are diseased, and they just disappear. They disappear from the surface of this earth just by the power of material energy. So it is not necessary for Krishna to come into this material world to kill demons. He comes to this material world, the main purpose is to have pastimes, to have loving exchange with his devotees. And to enhance that, sometimes he kills. When the bull demon appeared, then the gopis, when they saw the demon, they got so scared. So many of them, Vrindavan is filled with tamal trees, and tamal trees are all black in color. So when they saw this bull demon, they got so scared, so they all went and hugged the tamal trees. The color resembles Krishna's body hue, so they just thought this tree reminded them of Krishna, so they went and hugged Krishna. So putting in a demon in the picture just enhances the pastime. And then through that pastime, Krishna gives pleasure to his devotees, and he is satisfied by seeing his devotees derive that pleasure. And that is the purpose. And it should be made very clear that Krishna is not coming bound by karma. He's coming because of his sweet will to have pastime with devotees. And Krishna says that anyone who knows this transcendental nature of my appearance and activities, he does not come back to this material world upon leaving his body. He will come back to me. And that is another difference between a material incarnation and Krishna. There are so many people, especially in India, who call themselves God. Who call themselves, in South India there is a guy who calls himself Kalki. Yes, and he cannot give any guarantee like that after you leave this body. One of the guys went and told him, if you are Kalki, then can you do what Lord Sri Krishna did? He said, what do you want me to do? If you are incarnation of God, then I want you to show Virat Roop, Vishwaroop. He's such a rascal. He said, you should become qualified like Arjun. I have my Vishwaroop. You can't see it because you are not qualified. And then he said, can you lift Govardhan hill like Krishna did? And then he said, the thing is, when Krishna lifted Govardhan hill, it was Balaram who cracked the mountain. And then Krishna put his hand underneath and lifted. So when Balaram comes and cracks the Govardhan mountain, I can lift it. So much, they take each and every pastime, they study it in detail, and they understand the essence of how wonderful God is, and they create some answers. Because of the envious nature of Krishna, they create some answers and try to get followers to believe that they are God. But Krishna never has to appear to deal with people like this, because after some time he got diabetes. And he cannot go anywhere without out of his Atma Maya, he got diabetes. And he cannot move anywhere anymore very freely because it is very confined to his center where his treatment has to happen. So Krishna doesn't have to come. After some time he is going to die. And that will be the end of it. And there has been many incarnations like that and many such ends. But Krishna says, and only Krishna can say, that if somebody understands who he is, his transcendental nature, his activities, how they are transcendental, they will go to Krishna. Followers of Kalki, the so-called Kalki, they will not go to any transcendental abode. They will go to where he is, and that is hell. So whomever we follow, that place we go to. So they are all already having a ticket reserved for going in the footsteps of their incarnation. Another important, very interesting point that Srila Prabhupada presented in this purport, which is very unique to Srila Prabhupada, is any moment, any opportunity he gets to talk about the idea of how Krishna is a person and he is not impersonal, he'll immediately grab that. Here is the verse that talks about, in the verse there is Utpadyateshu Purusha. So Srila Prabhupada uses that word Purusha to explain how God is a person. And vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti sapyate. Learned transcendentalists who know absolute truth call this non-dual substance as Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So immediately Prabhupada takes the opposite. In India it's very common. There are a lot of people who are followers of Shankaracharya who believe that God is light, or God is Brahma Jyoti, and they believe that is the topmost realization of God. And every opportunity Srila Prabhupada gets to talk about Krishna's personal form, immediately he'll establish that idea. Often he gives the example of understanding of God can be compared to understanding a train. So a train can be understood by different people in different ways. Some people can, if you are a person who's living near a train track, you can just understand train by the sound it makes. It comes like, and then that is train. Yeah, that is one level of understanding. And then there are people who are in the platform. They know train as something which has many boxes and then it moves past that platform. So their understanding is slightly higher. It's little bit more than just the people who think that train is light and sound. In the night hours the train also has lights. So people have the lower level of understanding is to think train is sound or the light that it gives out. And a higher level understanding is when you can see the boxes going past you. And then higher than that is understanding of people who are actually in those different compartments. They can see that there are people sitting, there is luggages, and then there is place for sleeping, there's toilets, the sections are connected, and then that is the complete understanding of train. And that is possible because they are there being part of that system. So Srila Prabhupada often gives this analogy. Brahman understanding is like just seeing the sound and hearing the sound and seeing the light of the train and saying that is train. I'm living here, I know so many years now, you want to know what is train? That is the sound. And I can tell you at 11:20 and 12:45, 3:15, I know train. And then if you go to the platform vendors, they will have a slightly higher understanding. A form is given that is similar to form of Paramatma. And that is the idea that train has the compartments and it goes past your platform. So their understanding is slightly higher. And Bhagavan understanding is the topmost understanding because you understand everything about God. And that when you understand train in its full form, you will also understand that its moving nature across the platforms and it's giving out sound as it goes past different stations, all different aspects, but it's not a complete understanding. So every time Prabhupada gets the opportunity, he makes it a point to say the impersonal feature is but one of the features of his personality. Ultimately, he is a person. He is not impersonal. And not only is he Purusha, a person, but he is Leela Purushottama, the best of all persons. So, and then there is this description how Krishna sets this wonderful person when he comes and when he lives in Vrindavan and then he was born in Mathura, and then when he goes to Vrindavan he performs beautiful pastimes with the gopis and the gopas and mother and father and all the Brajvasis. That's in Canto 10, beginning part. Rasa Leela 10:29, a lot of description where loving exchange is described. And after that, then Krishna comes to Mathura and then he establishes Dwaraka and he is marrying the 16,000 wives which is described in this verse. And Narada goes to see what is happening in Krishna's palace because it's a very tricky situation. If one man is married to one lady, he can come home evening and already you don't know whether it will be peaceful or not. If he is married to two ladies, 100% there won't be any peace. If you are married to 16,000 and 108, definitely it is a very, very tricky situation. So how is he going to see his wives? How is he going to interact with them? He goes to this palace, that one, all the other 16,107 are going to be mad at him for going to that queen's wife. So how is he going to deal with all of that? Narad wants to see. So he goes to Dwaraka to see Krishna in all his different palaces. And he's seeing that Rukmini's first palace was Rukmini's, and he's seeing that Rukmini is doing some very menial service. Even though there are hundreds of maids waiting, she is personally serving Krishna. And when Narada enters the palace, Krishna gets up. He puts Narada in his chair position. He washes his lotus feet and honors the water from his lotus feet. And after he leaves that palace, then he is visiting one by one the different palaces. And there's a beautiful description. In one palace, Krishna is playing dice with Uddhava and as one of his queen. In another palace, he is playing with his infant kids. Then he is preparing to bath, and he is performing a sacrifice in one palace. In one palace he is feeding brahmanas with his wife nearby. In another palace he is eating the remnants of the brahmanas after feeding them. In another one he is doing his noon rituals. In another one he is chanting his Gayatri. In another one he is having an afternoon nap. In another one he is having a meeting with his minister, lunch over meeting. And then in another one he is having some evening pastime with some of his lady companions in the water. And in another one he is giving charity to brahmanas. In another palace he is sitting there with his wife talking and making some jokes. In another palace he is sitting and meditating on the super soul, which is himself. And in another one he is serving his spiritual master. In another palace he is making arrangement for marriage of one of his children. In another palace he is getting ready to go on a hunting. And in another one he is getting ready, he is disguising himself. He is changing his form. He wants to go into the city to see, to hear from people how good he is as a king, so he is disguising to go out as a spy to learn about. So all these are the amazing activities that are explained in this verse. This verse says in a nutshell that Krishna performed various duties according to Vedic principles, and these are all different things he was performing as a householder, as a kshatriya, to protect his citizens. And it may look like, in first canto, Srila Prabhupada uses the word henpecked husband. There's somebody who runs behind his wife. Please don't be angry. Please, can you accept my apology? How can I serve you? That kind of husband. Yeah, so he puts himself in that position to have a very loving relationship with the gopis. But we should never forget that Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. Even though he is having all these exchanges with the gopis and his queens in Dwaraka, we should know that Ete Chamsa Kalapamsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Hridayanti Yuge Yuge. He is the source of all incarnations. There are thousands of incarnations of Lord Vishnu. And there are different types of Sakyavesh avatar, Leela avatar, Purusha avatar, Manvantara avatar. So many types of incarnations are there, and Lord Krishna is the source of all these incarnations. Just because he is playing around and getting afraid of Mother Yashoda, or being chastised by gopis, or rejected by the gopis, or he is running behind holding the sari pallu of his queens in Dwaraka, we should not think that he is an ordinary person. And without having that proper understanding, if we step into the 10th canto Bhagavatam, which is just one verse away, just one more verse and 9th canto is over, and the 10th canto unfolds the element of Ashraya, Samam Bonam. The canto is called Samam Bonam. This canto is the shelter for devotees. It is the nectarian pastimes of Krishna. And if we want to have a proper understanding of this canto, then we should have this very clear idea that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the fountainhead of all the different incarnations. And if he is playing a role of an ordinary man, it does not mean he is ordinary man. Thank you very much. Any comments or questions? Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, thank you for your class. Because you mentioned the 10 subjects of Srimad Bhagavatam, so I'd like to give a comment. I want to share a paragraph from the 12th canto. This is 12th canto, chapter 7, verse 9 and 10. And this is the last paragraph of the purport by Srila Prabhupada's disciples. Srila Jiva Goswami has explained that the 10 principal topics of Srimad Bhagavatam are found within each of the 12 cantos. One should not try to assign each of the 10 topics to a particular canto, nor should the Srimad Bhagavatam be artificially interpreted to show that it deals with the topics successively. Summarized in the 10 categories mentioned above are described with various degrees of emphasis and analysis throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mother. It's a very, very important point you highlighted. I do have it in my notes somehow. I didn't mention it. I'm very grateful that you mentioned. It is true that all the 10 elements are in all the 10 cantos. It is true. And that's the point that Mataji is highlighting. And it is not possible that we could say this canto is talking about this, and this canto is talking about this element, and this canto is talking about this element. But as also she mentioned, there are some cantos where some of these elements get highlighted. You know, the creation of Brahma gets highlighted from 3rd to 5th canto. It is not that all the other elements, in fact the canto 9 is called liberation. Even though the concept of liberation is talked about a lot in 11th canto, so it is not that this canto deals with this element and that canto deals with that canto. We have 12 cantos and 10 elements. So it is not that we will go progressively from this to that and each element is belonging to one canto. But, so that point is very much appreciated. Thank you for highlighting that, Mataji. But you can see those different elements in different sections predominantly spoken. It comes out predominantly in particular sections. But every canto is talking about all the elements. That's true. Thank you, Mataji, for highlighting. Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.